That's actually not something that's going to be on this team, and that's why I think the Espatra nowadays stands out as much as it does, because that Mega Steelix is one of those Pokemon that sticks out, but you do have a second Mega evolution in the Tyranitar.
If Trick Room goes up, Steelix should be attacking first very consistently, so that is a pretty great option for Wolfe here too. Especially with that Sand Force ability, you can turn off the rain from Politoed and maybe boost up your Steelix a little more. But no Steelix just yet. We got this Sneasler and the Tyranitar facing off against the Espathra and Incineroar. Immediately Steven trying to look to get those Calm Minds and Baton Passes going.
Well, the Intimidate first is actually going to get rid of the White Herb from the Sneasler, so now it's all of a sudden going to be one of the fastest Pokemon on the field. That's the decision that Steven has to make. But of course, Sneasler has Fake Out too, so Espathra is actually going to be the one that flinches, as Tyranitar just gets to go for the Rock Slide. Didn't Mega Evolve on this turn, something that we've seen a lot of trainers try to hold onto just in case the opposing Weather Setter does come in. You can Mega Evolve and overwrite the weather that way. But yeah, what an unfortunate flinch onto the Incineroar.
You wanted one Fake Out and you got two instead. Pretty good first turn for Wolfe there.
To the Incineroar feels mostly safe. And in fact, it's going to be enough to pick up the knockout. If you lose your Sneasler here, I think you've basically gotten what you've wanted.
Yeah.
The Intimidator is gone. You get to bring in the, the Sinistra for free. You don't actually have something like the Flare Blitz that's going to be dealing with that anymore. So I think you take that. I'm expecting a knockoff to come this Espathra's way to finish it off and give Wolfe a one Pokemon advantage after losing the Sneasler.
This Culver Berry will reduce the damage, but will it be enough to survive after that chip? It does survive with 21 HP. It might be a couple turns of sand damage away from being knocked out, but surviving here is crucial. We saw it take 12 damage from that Sandstorm, so one more turn and it will be knocked out. Somewhat expect. You kind of have to bring in Politoed here because you'd much rather Baton Pass through the Archaladon.
But it's actually Archaladon. So you have to think about this too. There's only one Mega Evolution option on Steven's team.
But otherwise, this Scovillain doesn't really have a lot to be doing against Wolfe's team.
Well, it's going to be the Steelix that actually comes out for the Tyranitar, and we're going to see an immediate pivot there of the Archaladon to the Politoed. Great heads-up play for Wolfe to be able to preserve that Sandstream ability for later, as we actually do see the Espathra Baton Pass out now into the Archaladon.
Yeah, the Archaladon now is going to get those two speed boosts, but I fear that Steelix swapping in with Sinistra on the field means that Wolfe might have tried to set up Trick Room here, and if that's the case, it will be a case of this Archaladon speed boost being very disadvantageous.
Yeah, because at this point, I mean, you do have the stamina ability on this Archaladon.
There's not a whole lot that Steven can do to protect this Archaladon from taking a high horsepower.
Yeah, well, you called it. Tyranitar is here to stay, and Politoed is going to have to either stay or try to bring back the rain. The Steelix Mega Evolving looks quite fun. This is like where I think that maybe Terra kind of came in there, with the idea. Wow, their Archaladon does actually tank that high horsepower, but it's not going to be around for a whole lot longer. I think Politoed goes for the Muddy Water, and so that is going to be one of the slower things on the field thanks to that Choice Scarf. It actually does take that Steelix down quite low, and the accuracy drop on the Tyranitar.
Ooh, great call from Steven, just unfortunately not enough to take out that Tyranitar. Really good play there, going for that Flash Cannon into the Sinistra. Maybe you would have been tempted to go for Dragon Pulse, which I think is maybe slightly higher base power, but...
Advantage if you are Steven.
Yeah.
Archaladon got those speed boosts from the Espathra. Sinistra's going to come back in, and the Hospitality is actually going to heal a pretty considerable amount of damage, and also does put Wolfe in a position where that Tyranitar can come back in at any moment. You're just hoping here that you're not going to take any damage, and the Wide Guard is perfect because you know the Muddy Water is coming.
Yeah.
So that's at least going to stop that for one turn while you get the Sinistra in for free.
Really, really good play by Wolfe there. The Wide Guard will protect you from Muddy Water. The Politoed is again holding that Choice Scarf item, so it cannot use another attack. And since the sand is up, the Archaladon, Machagacha as well.
And you just have, you have Rage Powder, just because also Archaladon's not going to be doing too much to you either. Archaladon does get a double protect though, so that's actually kind of a big deal to try to stall through some of these final turns of the Trick Room. But we do see that the Sinistra actually went for Machagacha, so that's going to be spread damage that's going to land into the Espathra as well. And that's going to finish it off, and that's going to bring in the Politoed for free.
Yeah, Politoed is forced to re-enter the field. We'll be able to set the rain back up, but because Wolf swapped out that Tyranitar, does have it still in the back to set up that sand once again. I think there's still at least one more turn of Trick Room for us, so the Steelix will still have the speed advantage. And because this Politoed is Choice Scarf, it might not be super bulky. There's a chance that this Sand Force boosted high horsepower might be enough to knock it out outright with the sand going back up.
It is close, but you should be able to get through one more. I think you can get through one more. Our Challenger tried to go for a triple protect, though. It's going to fail. So this time around, this Steelix not going to mess around. Has the high horsepower to get the knockout, but now you have to deal with this Politoed that Muddy Water, if it comes out, is going to knock out the Tyranitar from here, but it's in fact just the Weather Ball. So that's what you lock into, and that's just not going to get the job done.
Especially with that Rock-type Weather Ball into the double-resistant Steelix here. I think this is pretty wrapped up for Wolf. I think Steven very correctly not logging into Muddy, and it doesn't necessarily just want to sit on the field against Wolf's team, because even with some burns throwing around, that sand damage racks up, the Rock Slide damage racks up, the Sand Force boosted attacks from the Steelix rack up as well.
But it is going to be the Scovillain that makes an appearance, and I was going to say the one caveat that I would say is you still have to give respect over to the Scovillain, no matter what the field. You can even protect the Espadra here, get a speed boost. The Unburden didn't activate on the Sneasler just yet, so that might actually give you a speed advantage into the Sneasler on the next turn. It's a fake out though, so that's also one way that you can kind of deal with this Espadra for now, is just fake it out and deal with it next time. But that's going to give room for this Tyranitar to go for a Dragon Dance, increasing its attack and speed.
Flamethrower immediately into that Tyranitar, maybe trying to get a little bit more chip damage into it. You fish for a burn on the Flamethrower, but not going to happen just yet. I think a great turn by Wolf there, getting that Dragon Dance up, immediately saying, okay, I'm not going to lean on Trick Room just yet. I've got this Dragon Dance Tyranitar.
Evolve, and then the Spicy Extract is in play. But there's not going to be any Moody boost for this Scovillain. It's just going to kind of just be here as Espadra gets a free Calm Mind. Actually, I say that. Could just be a knockoff from the Tyranitar that's going to chunk it down quite low. But it's another Dragon Dance. So here's another way that you can get around the Spicy Extract from the Scovillain. You have to hit it at some point. But look at the, look at how well this Tyranitar is actually going to deal with something like the Giga Drain. You can have the +2 now, which will neutralize getting burned.
It will, yeah. And at +2, I think you are certainly one at killing this Scovillain with Rock Slide as well. So again, you're making sure you're trading getting burned by the Scovillain's ability.
And the Espadra is still going to be faster than the Tyranitar here. It's going to protect itself for now because, and the Scovillain will too. So you're going to at least stave off the Rock Slide for one turn. But I'm curious to know what this Sneasler is actually going to end up doing here. It would have been a free close combat. You know, that's actually another thing that I really love about the Dragon Dance play. It's not even just about getting the +2 attack to try to neutralize the burn. You have +2 speed. What an interesting interaction to see the Tyranitar move before the Sneasler. If you're expecting Baton Pass to come through, then I would say maybe you can prepare for Sinistcha to come in and actually go for Trick Room. But we're not actually going to see a swap, so maybe this time it will just be a Rock Slide to finish off the Scovillain and then the close combat here. Father did have a point or a moment to be able to go for the, the Lumina Crash, but that Scovillain is out of here. Chaladon unfortunately has to take a stamina boost, so I actually do wonder whether or not the Sneasler can pick up the knockout, but this was a worthwhile trade to take the burn for your Dragon Dance attack boosts.
I think it probably survives. Yeah, with that stamina boost, you're able to hang on. But that's still really, really important damage here. This Archaludon now has a lot of speed boosts. It has the special attack boost, that's a special defense boost. But more importantly now, it's at +2 defense. It's got the leftovers. Now is when this Archaludon can attempt to start taking over this game. If you didn't get the close combat off into Archaludon there, that would have been very, very difficult to take down. The Wolf correctly identifying, like, I cannot let this Archaludon in quickly.
Yeah, but I think the Sneasler, now that the Unburden is active, is faster than the Archaludon at +2. Only one turn of sand left, so you could also kind of wait it out and see what's going to happen after this turn. But this Archaludon actually ends up protecting itself. That's going to allow this Tyranitar to just go for knockoff here. Now, knockoff doesn't happen before the Cobra Berry activates, but that is a crazy crazy survival from this Espatra.
Yeah.
It's going to be able to get the Luna Crash off into the Sneasler and bring in something new. But when the sand is going, so the sand is expiring, there's not going to be any sand chip to actually deal any extra damage to this Espatra since it's expired on this turn.
That's a huge survival for that Espatra. Getting rid of Sneasler means that close combat is no longer in play for Wolfe. This Archaludon now is looking a lot better than it was about 30 seconds ago when the Sneasler was still threatening those close combats. Sinistra comes in, we'll be able to protect that Tyranitar with Rage Powder and also heal it back up with that Hospitality. Now you do have the option to go for that Trick Root. That's not going to be great for Steven.
It's going to be protective, the Sinistra, though, so maybe hoping to get a bit more mileage out of the Tyranitar, and I think Wolfe might have got it, because Tyranitar just gets to one more knockoff into this Archaludon. It's going to actually get rid of the leftovers, and that's kind of the biggest arch enemy of some of these teams.
Yeah.
Getting rid of the leftovers that's going to constantly be healing you back up.
That is really important. Now this leftovers are gone, the Archaludon, any damage it takes will stick for the rest of the match.
To actually get rid of the... I was going to say the Espatra. Steelix is just going to come in.
Yeah.
I don't hate that. I mean, it's going to be a Dragon Pulse first year. Archaludon is still faster than the Espatra, and then the Lumina Crash will follow it up if you were expecting there to be a double. So now the Steelix is going to be at -2 special defense. It cannot afford to take another attack, but I mean, this Tyranitar just has other plans. If it can connect onto both, and it doesn't, the Espatra is going to avoid the Rock Slide. This Archaludon is going to take negligible damage from that.
Well, now Steven, I think, is back in the driver's seat. This Espatra, I think, should be outspeeding the Archaludon after this turn, which means that now you've unlocked the ability to go for that combination Lumina Crash. 2 is still burned. I don't think it's going to be able to knock out this Archaludon on its own.
Sinistra can come back in. It's going to give a bit of HP recovery over to the Steelix, but I still don't think that that's going to be enough to get it out of dodge.
Yeah.
Steelix is still going to Mega Evolve here because you may as well use it. Tyranitar a little too low, and the burn definitely hurting its a damage output at this point. But Espatra goes for the Lumina Crash into the Sinistra. So maybe the Steelix is able to get through this turn. Archaludon to follow up with a Dragon Pulse here is going to knock out the Sinistra, but I wonder if this is actually an opening for Wolfe to get back into this game. Maybe expecting there to be a Protect, but the high horsepower, even at +4 defense from those stamina boosts, is going to knock out this Archaludon, and it will just be the final 2 Pokemon here.
That was a really great play from Steven. You went for the Lumina Crash into a Tyranitar, which is often something you probably shouldn't be doing, but wanting to cover that Sinistra swap very, very well. Gets Wolfe down to his final 2 Pokemon alongside Steven. What is it going to be? It's probably the Politoed again, if I had to guess. And there it is. Based on these speed interactions, we should have Sand up at the end of the beginning of the turn, at the end of this turn, and then be knocked out afterwards. I think Wolfe, presumably going for a double Protect here, makes a lot of sense. You see what the Politoed locks itself into. If it is that Muddy Water, you have Wide Guard to try and close out this game. If it is the Rock-type Weather Ball again, it might be very difficult to make headway here.
It is going to be the Ice Beam. So now you know that there are going to be single target attacks. That chip damage is just not quite enough to actually get the knockout onto the Espatra, but you bought yourself, I think, time.
Power will have that special defense boost. Probably isn't enough.
And you didn't get the double Protect here, so it's just going to be a Lumina Crash to drop this Steelix's special defenses to -4. And this Politoed should have no trouble being able to pick it off at the end of this turn. Ice Beam comes out. Steelix is going to take that and go down. And we've tied up this series, it feels like. Bar a critical hit from this Tyranitar, but it goes for the Dragon Dance. Okay, so it's going to get a speed boost and an attack boost here. But is it actually enough to knock out this Politoed?
It might be really close. The special defense boost here from Tyranitar in the sand is one, you're still not doing max damage.
Well, Politoed still moves first, and it just barely doesn't get the knockout on the Tyranitar, so there's one chance this knockoff has to come out and deal the finishing blow, and it can't. So Tyranitar will knock itself out at the end of this turn from its burn damage, and we're going to a game 3.
What an exciting turnaround from Steven there.
Don't want the burn on the Sneasler.
You could have knocked it out immediately if you go for something like Dire Claw plus Rock Slide, but then you get 2 burns on your 2 physical attackers instead of just the Tyranitar. And I think that close combat into Archaludon is very important, so dodging that burn is a great way to set up that Archaludon to get knocked out. But we don't see the Scovillain just yet. We're back to the Incineroar, which will immediately give Sneasler that White Herb Unburdened speed boost. little bit. Either swap it out or go for the fake out into that Espathra.
Well, it's going to be a switch out of the Tyranitar immediately as Steelix takes its place. As fake out once again finds its mark into the Espathra to stop it on this turn. And it's going to be the Steelix that takes the fake out this time. And so it's just kind of a, you know, rotating door fake outs. You get a fake out, and you get a fake out, and you get some sandstorm damage.
I love the Steelix like turning to the Incineroar, just
He's
staring.
like,
but I think if you flare blitz it, you're taking a lot of recoil and maybe even being knocked out by high horsepower. So you gotta be very careful what you do with this Incineroar here.
I think high horsepower feels safe into any of these Pokemon, especially because if you try to bring in something like the, you know, a Chaladon, that's not going to feel great, even with the baton passes there. But Sneasler goes for the close combat into the Incineroar. That's just a one-hit knockout. Wow. That is the power of the Sneasler with the White Herb is able to cleanse that Intimidate drop, and you're still doing super effective damage. So Steelix doesn't even get a chance to have some fun in this round.
That's exactly why the White Herb has become the de facto item on this Sneasler. It is really good into Incineroar because Incineroar can survive a close combat if Sneasler is at -1. But if you just have the one Intimidate down on Sneasler, that White Herb will protect you, and you get the full powered close combat.
But you don't. You can only have one of them. What if it's a Sylveon in the back? Who knows, but...
It's possible. I would assume it's still the Archaladon. It's pretty strong into Wolf's team if you do get those boosts going, but you can deal with the Steelix. Wolf does not want that Steelix to get hit by a flamethrower from the Scovillain, so he's opting to swap it out into Tyranitar immediately.
And Steelers gonna go for Dire Claw. I mean, that's one way that you can keep this Scovillain in check. You know that you're likely going to be falling to a Lumina Crash on the receiving end. Or if it ends up being the Tyranitar, that is all of a sudden immune to the Lumina Crash. Scovillain gets to go for the Flamethrower as well. Would have loved to be able to land that into the Mega Steelix that has those deep, you know, well, I was gonna say just not as nice, I guess, physical defenses here.
Yeah.
But you have this Espathra that should, I think, be faster than the Sneasler now. It's at +3.
Scovillain this turn, without going for Baton Pass, you have nothing left to pass to.
Wow. Well, it is just going to be the Dark Claw. It's actually faster still than this Espathra. And it's going to be the Lumina Crash to take out this Sneasler. But if this is a Rock Slide to follow up, double connecting into both Pokemon would be pretty good for the game. Tyranitar is not going to miss this time around. Barely misses the KO on the Espathra again.
Yeah.
And this Tyranitar is going to get burned in the process.
But I think you're very fine with that. You've brought Steven down to his final 2 Pokemon. This Espathra is on the field. We'll be taking sand damage here, and one more turn of sand will knock it out. Importantly, you cannot Baton Pass anymore. You've lost 2 Pokemon. There's nothing left in the back to pass to. So whatever Steven brings out here will be his final Pokemon, and this Espathra has accomplished essentially nothing after getting that Lumina Crash off into Sneasler.
And look, there's no Politoed, so there's no way to be able to take the sand away from the Steelix that is waiting in the wings.
Damage starts to stick again, despite that stamina.
Oh, well, I guess maybe hoping for a Rage Powder there, or even just something else to switch in, but it isn't going to. So there's no Lumina Crash damage onto the Tyranitar, or what Steven was hoping for, and this Archaladon has been left on its lonesome. 3 Pokemon left here for Wolf to take it down, but you've got to be methodical. Don't want to give over too many stamina boosts to this Pokemon, but you know Steelix is going to be close to finishing up the job. One way to make sure that you've got the speed in your favor is going to be setting up the Trick Room so Steelix can come in and finish the game.
I think this is still a very, very strong position for Wolf. You do have to be a little bit careful about this Archaladon and its stamina. Get rid of that leftovers, make sure it's not recovering anything. But instead, Wolf is opting to swap out Tyranitar. Wants to make sure he gets that full-powered, high horsepower in the sand before any stamina boost can come through.
I think that's fine.
I do too.
We did see that it was close to being able to pick up the knockout, but just not quite enough.
You can get a high horsepower off here, give it a stamina boost, even with some leftovers recovery. It's going to be in range for another one. And importantly, Archaladon just won't threaten Steelix at all in return.
Can we take a moment before this game ends to appreciate the size difference between the Mega Steelix and Tyranitar the teeny?
That's so great. Oh, I love it.
It's beautiful.
Power comes through, you can follow up with a knockoff. If not
it's
knock
just
it out,
one
you just
hit.
get it immediately.
Okay, well, that's one way to do it. Their Chaladon is down, and Wolfe Glick undefeated for day 1 of the Indianapolis Regional Championships.
Really impressive run. I think Mega Steelix was on a grand total of 1 people's radar going to this event, and it was Wolf's. But showing us that Mega Steelix, even though it hasn't been very popular, wasn't even very popular the first time around, we had Mega Evolution, is a big threat in this MA Mega.